Hello, everybody. My name is Alexa Sandler. I am a senior PRAD major as well as a digital content assistant within the College of Communication. And I'm so excited to bring you guys another episode of CMN Chats. So without further ado, let's bring out our guest, Natalie Rohman.
Hello, Alexa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. Thanks for being on the show.
Happy to be here.
So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm currently a senior in the PRAD program. I'm minoring in Spanish and environmental studies as well. And currently I am just chilling out at home, and yeah, I don't know, I'm excited to just get to share all my experiences with you and all the communication students as well.
Yeah, so you are a PRAD major. How did you decide to select that as your major?
In all honesty, I knew from the beginning that I wanted to be in communications. I always loved writing and creating, and that was something that I was always drawn to. But to be honest, I never knew what PR was. And so I remember coming to the Admitted Students Day, and I believe Jim Motzer was actually presenting to us, and he was telling us all of the different majors within the PRAD and communication school. So I think throughout the list that he gave, like PR was the one that really resonated with me. So I was like, you know what, we're going to go that route. And I haven't regretted it since. I love it so much.
I think that tends to happen with some people in PRAD is that you didn't know it existed until you were in it. I came to DePaul as a film student, and obviously now I'm a PRAD major. So it's just, I feel like it's just one of the things that finds you. You don't find it.
I definitely agree with that. I think just meeting everybody, and I love all of the PRAD professors. I can just remember like walking down the hallway of every office and knowing every PRAD professor by their first and last name. Like there's just a really warm community, and I've loved it. I've loved all the classes I've taken, and even when I was in an intro to PR class with Noor Usal, I was like, wow, what is what is PR? And it was just, I loved it. It was great.
Is there a favorite course that you would recommend to others within the PRAD program, or a certain professor? I know you just mentioned one, but is there somebody that, has kind of been with you on your journey?
Yeah, well, I have to say Jim Motzer, and he retired last year, but I took Bateman, which is the campaigns competition class that only 10 people get to take, but it was definitely a worthwhile experience and something that I've grown from and learned throughout. Like it's a real hands-on type of class, and it tests you, it challenges you, but it's something that you're going to need, while you're in this industry. You need to have that like real world experience, and having that class, which is a 2-quarter class, was just something great to have, and something I will cherish too. I know Don Ingle also teaches it now, and I know some people that are taking it that will reach out to me for advice and everything. But you were basically building a campaign from ground zero, and we had the 2020 census last year, and just being a part of something like in a political campaign too was just eye-opening to me as well. So that was one of my favorite classes, most challenging classes, but I'm just glad that I signed up for it.
Yeah, I think something that's like unique about the Bateman class is like you said, it's a 2-quarter class, and you really get immersed in that whole experience. I actually took Fox Sports University with Don Ingle in the spring, and that's the same thing, like except it was only a quarter long. But it's that really immersive. You work with the real client, you have the real campaign that you're actually pitching to those clients, and then you really get a sense of like what the real world is like. And I think that that sort of experience is like invaluable when you go on and complete your degree.
Definitely. And you're constantly pitching people, and you're also in a class, like you're in school, you have work. So you're kind of doing everything, but you get through it because you have a team of 5 other students along with you. And I got to work closely with my friends, and I just remember we spent long hours in the library just working on it, and we got it done, and we also got an honorable mention, which was amazing. And I think the other DePaul team also won last year too, which was amazing. And I wouldn't have known about that class if it weren't for PRSSA.
Which,
yeah, which I'm now like the executive VP of, which is just beyond what I would have imagined, like coming into DePaul. Like I wouldn't have thought I was in leadership positions before, but it's just the word gets out and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go try this and see and see how it goes.
Yes, so you mentioned you're involved with PRSSA. How did that start?
Yeah, so I think when I like knew that I wanted to do PR, I was like, okay, what organizations on campus are PR related? And PRSSA was like the first one to come up. So, I did what a freshman, sophomore would have done, is just go to the meetings and see how it is and introduce myself. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of intimidating with all of these older upperclassmen who were like, I got everything figured out, like I have internships. But I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna stick through it and just see how it goes and what it might offer me. And it was one of the best decisions I made at DePaul was joining PRSSA. And I was just always an active member. I always wanted to make sure that they knew who I was. And I always said yes to things. I went to agency visits. Like I remember going to the Blackhawks and the Cubs and just having all those really fun experiences to meet like clients and agencies and whatnot. But just like getting my foot through the door and having opportunities open for me through PRSSA has just been like an experience I would never have gotten if I didn't even go to the first meeting. So for those looking for like a PR organization, I would definitely recommend joining PRSSA. I think it's something that, a professional organization that students don't realize is, giving you opportunities to advance your, PR experience as well. So I don't know, I've loved it. And I got like I've participated on the board and just worked my way up, and I'm so dedicated and love them all like family. So it's so fun.
Great. All right, what are some of like in your opinion, what are some of the unique benefits that PRSSA has for students who are members?
Yeah, so we have a lot of scholarship opportunities. We also have a national conference every year, which really gives a lot of great networking opportunities to students. And we do, when we are in person, we have agency visits. So, students get the opportunity to choose like what agencies they want to explore more. And you get to talk with assistant account executives and people who actually work there. And not only that, but our whole like PRSA national network has a broader alumni program too for graduates who are wanting to stay within the industry and like stay connected with the university as well. But not only that, I manage our new blog called The Press. And that's a great outlet for students to kind of share their internship experience or literally any other work or career experiences they have, just for, to boost your portfolio and your resume and be like, here is content that I have that I want to share with people. So that's just another great thing to have. And I'm not going to lie, it's just a great like other resource if you're ever in need of internship help, career advice. We also have a mentorship program. So I have a couple mentees that I like to meet up with. So yeah, it's a great organization to be in.
That's really awesome. Is there a particular PRSSA moment or memory that stands out to you within your time there?
So I remember attending the first regional conference that we had, and it was one of the largest regional conferences that like 170 other students from around the country. I was like, wow, this is like what we can do and what our chapter does is we bring people together from all over who share the common interests, and everybody coming to Chicago was just so like in awe of what like agencies there are. And I just remember meeting a ton of people and taking them on like the red line, and they're like, you guys take this to class every day. And so yeah, it's just in perspective, like yes, we are online, but there are so many other communities out there that are connected through PRSSA that it's just a great like network to have even beyond college.
Very cool. So I know that you're super involved on campus. I believe you work at the Writing Center. and you were involved with Her Campus, which
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about next. What is Her Campus?
So Her Campus is this fun online women's magazine. It's kind of like a BuzzFeed style platform. And it started out at Harvard by a couple women, and now it's a national, like there are over 370 other chapters. And I was also looking for a more creative, like relaxed organization to be involved in. And Her Campus really stood out to me, not only because of their empowering mission, but just as a writing and creative organization. I just was drawn to it. And I actually joined it later, I think the end of my sophomore year. I just walked into a meeting, and the first thing that they were doing was a survival kit giveaway, which is just like a huge brand merch, like free for all, that Her Campus sponsors every chapter with. So I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I ever heard of this before? But it's been just a great few years because I was able to, get my writing out there and have accountability and be responsible for, writing different stories and different topics every week. And then I kind of just grew in love with it. Like it became my baby, and I just wanted to be more involved on the e-board. So I became an editor. I also did a bit of social media for them. And then, it kind of grew into like being a CC, which is a campus correspondent. Sadie Fisher is also campus correspondent with me. I could not do it alone. But it is just a great organization for writing. And, we've collabed with like the Writing Center, and also we've done self-defense workshops. Like we really try to connect with other organizations on campus and offer our members just, an outlet of expression and a place where they can feel accepted and tolerated, and where voices can be uplifted as well. So there's no like fee or application process, no specific writing skill or level that you have to have. It's just a great way for students who can join and have this little community. And it's just fun. It's all fun. So yeah, it's been a great, I think, 2.5 years.
Time
And I
flies.
love it. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But yeah, Her Campus is my little baby. But yeah.
How
Great.
have you used some of your skills that you've learned in PRAD classes to help you with that role you have with Her Campus and your role with the Writing Center as well? Because as we all know, writing is super critical for PR, and I know you write a lot. So kind of talk to us about how your PRAD coursework has, has been able to influence your roles that you hold, your leadership roles.
Yeah, I want to say like there were so many classes we had to take, and I remember our intro to communication classes, and we had to take like public speaking for one of them. And I
That is the most
remember
scary class ever.
I remember being a freshman, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it and take it and get it over with. But
Good for you. I waited till my end of my junior year for that one.
yeah, I knew like even some seniors who were like, I'm not taking public speaking, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna jump the gun, take this class, get it over with. And it was a very smart decision on my part. And I think what I've learned throughout my PR classes is that you really have to put yourself out there and be active in what you want. And if there's anything I've learned from PRSSA and like internships is that you always yes to things, but also knowing when put your foot on the gas on the brake pedal basically and just say, no, I can't do that because I know DePaul kids are very go, go, go. I'm the same way. It's, what's the next internship gonna be? But if you take a step back and kind of reprioritize things and just continue with what you love, I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from every PRAD professor I've met. It's honestly the people that I love so much in this field. And yeah, I think there are so many PRAD classes that we've taken too. And it's funny because I haven't taken like an intro to advertising class, but within like all of the classes that you take, like all of
Mhm.
your professors are kind of accumulating things that all kind of mesh together. So it's great because I know like a ton of PR students who have like dabble in different areas and you kind of learn throughout it. And yeah, it's been great. I love it.
You mentioned internships. Have you had any at your time at DePaul?
I have. So I think it was the summer of my sophomore year. So after we were in study abroad,
Yes.
I had like an internship lined up with a small boutique agency called Paper Girl PR and Marketing. And I actually got that through a DePaul alum who worked for them as well. And I met with the owner. It was just, there were two women who owned the PR agency, and I met with her at like a Starbucks one day and had a brief interview with her. And it was, I want to say, like 6 months. So it was like the summer through winter. Um, and I remember dedicating a few hours in the morning before I went to class to do like press clips and social media. It wasn't as, it was remote. So I didn't go into the office or anything since they were a small company. But basically, Paper Girl PR Marketing is a hospitality and like restaurant PR agency that did like bars and restaurants around Chicago. So I remember working on like Castaways, which is one of the beach grills, and just all these fun holiday pop-up taverns and like Wrigleyville too. So that was really fun just to get a more localized like perspective and sense of the city, and also just knowing how to code switch for different brands and different clients too. So that was really fun. And it was a company filled with like all women. So um, it was just a very fun and engaging internship. I believe it was unpaid, but it was just experience. And that was all I was looking for. And then also being a student on top of it, it's definitely a testing time management period, but yeah, I did it. So it was a great experience to have, and I just loved working with them. So coming my junior year, you know, when COVID hit, like I was still looking for internships, and I had like an interview at some agencies, and then they're like, we're going to hold off and just wait. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do this summer? So I was, utilizing the connections I had made at DePaul. So I want to thank Jim Motzer for helping me just find some recruiters. And I thankfully found FCB Chicago, Foot Cone and Belding, and they're an advertising agency. They do like Coca-Cola and Levi's. And I got on the phone with their recruiter, and I was like, I'm just looking for opportunities. And we kind of did a couple interviews, and she's like, what are you looking for? And amazingly, they had created this academy program. It was more of an educational internship program that they could offer remotely for students who, had internships fall through. And they're like, well, how can we offer students an opportunity to stay engaged and stay active and learn from our agency? So I was just so grateful for them, because I was just, I was like, what am I going to do? But it just kind of popped up, and it was a 5-week internship academy program. And so we were kind of split up into teams based on what we wanted to do. And honestly, I was so open and didn't really know what I wanted to do. So we were kind of talking like, what areas would you want to work in? And something that I felt passionately about, and it's kind of like um, content and like brand analytics too. So I was put into a team of 10 other interns. Granted, there were 65 of us, so
Wow.
there were like 20 people on a creative team. So my team was very small, which I was pretty thankful for, because I got to know all of them very closely. And we worked with like the creative directors, and every day was kind of, we had sessions like educational sessions, and then we had breakout rooms, coffee chats, like we had assignments every week too. So we were definitely like put to the test, and it there was never really a time commitment, but, granted people had jobs over the summer too, but I kind of treated it as an internship and I dedicated every day to like logging on and connecting with people, reaching out to people I worked with and interns, getting to know them. And I think one of the one of the best like moments or memories I have from it, the last week was our final campaign project. So the 10 strategic planners, we were all put into different teams with different interns and given a brief. And the brief was for Walmart's Back to College. And the first day of this last week, we had a terrible like summer storm. So in the western suburbs, like everybody's power was out. Everyone didn't have Wi-Fi. And I was like, how am I going to get through this campaign without Wi-Fi, without, just how am I going to do it? And so my neighbors thankfully had Wi-Fi. So every day I was walking over to my neighbors. Sometimes I had to use, my phone just to like call with my team members. And thankfully I wasn't on the creative production side. So like I was just like delegating and telling people what the strategy was and how we were gonna like create our campaign. But it was definitely just day and night, like trying to figure out day by day how we were gonna make it work and all those dropped calls. But it was just it was fun. And like our last presentation day, we presented to the CEO and she loved my strategy. Everything went flawlessly. It was just like I was so proud of all of us. So that was just one of the most rewarding like moments I had in that internship, and I just loved working with them. So yeah, even if you have short internships, it's how you make the most of it is really what I learned from it.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that was something that was really worthwhile for you and being able to, show off your expertise and also be able to learn at the same time.
Definitely. Yeah, and now I'm just like looking back, I'm like, I just miss FCB and my family there. You really grow attached to people you work with when you make connections with them.
Taking a step back from internships, PRSSA, everything we talked about, is there just a favorite DePaul memory that you've had at your time here? You're graduating soon, so what?
Oh my gosh.
That's a hard, very loaded question, I know.
There were so many, but like my freshman year of college, I was just so like thrilled to be on my own. And I had two roommates. Like I was living in the Belden Racing dorms. I just remember like, I don't know, I had so many fun moments, so many challenging moments, and I miss those days, but I also do not miss being a freshman in a dorm. But one of my favorite moments, I think, was when we saw Nick Jonas.
Go to that. Yeah.
At was it like a DAB concert or something? Like
that's at UIC.
It was like Fest or something, or was it a UIC event that they invited DePaul to? And I remember the tickets being like $10. Oh, and I think another great memory I have is just study abroad with you. And Juan Mundell and Marshall Goldman. That was just, we went to Amsterdam and Cannes and Barcelona. That was just an amazing 3-week experience that I will never get back, but I will always cherish. I think you can probably say the same.
Oh yes, definitely one of the most unforgettable experiences of my whole life. And this is my shameless plug to study abroad if you can. You won't regret it, I promise. It's life-changing for real.
Yeah, and so that program and portfolio building abroad. I don't know, in the future they might be doing it again. But the first week we were like in Cannes, France, and we went to the Festival of Creativity, like the Cannes Lions, grandeur festival, and it was just like living a dream. And we were creating campaigns every week. It was just a very go surreal experience to have, and I would definitely recommend every college student try to have that opportunity. Yeah, I that I was like, what other experiences have I had? Oh, I studied abroad.
Can't forget
Yeah,
about
that was just I know. All that money I saved spent studying abroad, yeah, it's all worth it.
it's definitely worth it. Well, those are all the questions that I have for you. I wanna thank you so much for being a part of this. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Alexa. It was so fun just getting to chat and reflect on college. It's going by so quickly, and I just appreciate having this community, and I love the College of Communication and everyone involved with it. So thank you again.
Thank you. And make sure to stay tuned for future episodes of CMN Chats. Bye.
Bye.